How you know if people are here?
Hello, everyone. So welcome to the Kiwanis Family Communication webinar presented by the CNH Kiwanis Family and Foundation Committee. So we'll start in a couple of minutes, but while y'all are waiting, y'all can go ahead and sign into the webinar. The tiny URL link is up right there. And in addition, if y'all have any questions throughout the webinar, you can use the other tiny URL link to ask those questions. So again, we will begin in a couple of minutes. So thank you for your patience, and yeah. Okay. Hello, everyone. So we are going to go ahead and start the webinar right now. So before we begin, just a couple of announcements. Again, if you are attending the webinar, please do sign in at the tiny URL on the slide right now. In addition to that, if you have any questions throughout the webinar, you can go ahead and use that tiny URL link, tinyurl.com/KFF webinars questions if you do have questions. And if we don't get to your question by the end of the webinar, we will go ahead and send you an email with the response. So before we begin, I just want to go over why the Kiwanis Family and Foundation Committee is hosting this webinar. So one of the goals of the KFF committee is to ensure that all communication between Circle K and the other Kiwanis family branches are improved this year on all levels. So that does include the club, division, and district levels. So through this webinar, we do hope to provide you some resources, and also we hope that you can see the KFF committee members as a resource that can be really beneficial for you and your club as you go ahead and improve your Kiwanis family communication and your Kiwanis family relations. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and introduce our hosts for tonight.
Hi guys, I'm Kathy. I go to San Francisco State as a third-year kinesiology major. I am the Northern Liaison on the Kiwanis Family and Foundation Committee. Shout out to Capital, Sunset, and Golden Gate. So why I think communication is important, it's just in general, communication is a good way to build relations, not just with your colleagues, with family, with just anyone in general. I think it's just the key to maintaining and just building relations overall as a just overall in general.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Christy. I am from UCR. I'm a second year, and I am the KFF Central Liaison. Why I think active communication is important is because the Kiwanis and the Kiwanis family does a lot for us. So I think it's important to actively communicate with them and be able to have a closer relation to them.
Hi, I'm Helen. I'm a fourth year from Orange Coast College. I am the Southern Liaison. Shout out to Metro Magic in Paradise. Okay, so why I think it's important to have active communication with your Kiwanis is because they provide so much support for our clubs and like all of the branches, and like with just Kiwanis alone, and then like you can be a great resource to the younger branches. So I think it's great to like connect with all of them because we're one big K family.
And hello, everyone. My name is Joseph Madrigal, and I currently attend UCLA, and it is my fourth and final year here. I currently serve as the District Kiwanis Family and Foundation Chair. Shout out CNH District. I do think that it is important that the whole district does develop good Kiwanis family communication, because with good communication, we can get through a lot more obstacles and solve a lot of the problems that we have and cross the bridges that we have to cross to improve our Kiwanis family relations as a whole. So with that being said, we will go ahead and start the presentation.
All right. So why it's effective communication is important to the Kiwanis family relations. Effective communication is important because it helps maintain and build stronger relations within our Kiwanis family. Kiwanis is a strong resource that can be helpful to us Circle K members. And so our Kiwanis Club sponsors and supports us Circle K members. So we should do the same and show the same support back to our Kiwanis family. It's just simply a way to let our Kiwanis family know like what your home club has been up to, and just to update a little bit of what you've been doing, and just it's a good way to just show that you support them back, and that it's just a good way overall to show effective communication within your Kiwanis family.
So So let's go ahead and define what we mean by this word communication. So first thing is, what is communication? So I'm actually taking a class on communicating research right now. And one of the first things that my professor said is that the word communicate has a meaning that means to make someone understand an emotion or an idea. So looking at this definition, we can definitely see that there's way more to communication than what we usually use the word for. So oftentimes communication is used to refer to a person speaking to another person, a person making a presentation to a group or an audience, hosting a workshop and stuff like that. But beyond this, communication is about making someone understand something that we are trying to convey to them. So communication goes beyond just speaking. Communication does also include actions. So there's that phrase that goes, actions speak louder than words. This definitely does apply to communication. So like, for example, like with communicating with the Kiwanis family, we do have to take into consideration that this isn't just about speaking with Kiwanians, Key Club members, and Kiwanis members, but more so, it's showing the other branches of the Kiwanis family what Circle K is, what it does, what it stands for, what Circle K means to us, not only by the words we use to describe Circle K and how we talk about Circle K events, but also the actions that we perform, the events we plan, and stuff like that. So again, like, I guess in summary of that point, I just wanted to like show you all that communication is more than just the way we speak and the way we talk to one another. And yeah, so today we are going to be talking about 3 types of communication. The first one is passive communication, the second one is moderate communication, and the third one is active communication. And we will be talking a lot about how these 3 types of communication factor in when we interact with the other branches of the Kiwanis family. And before we move on to the rest of the presentation, I just wanted to challenge everyone right now listening to this webinar to kind of keep their ear out and gauge what they think their club is at in terms of communication. So as we go through the different types of communication, figure out if your club is a passive communicator, a moderate communicator, and an active communicator. And by the end of this webinar, I hope you can tell what type of communicator your club is and what steps you can take in order to improve the way your club communicates itself to the rest of the Kiwanis family.
Okay, so I'm going to be talking about the first 2 levels of communication. So as Joseph mentioned, the first 2 levels are passive communication and moderate communication. So defining passive communication could be that kind of communication where you only communicate with someone when you really need something. And it's kind of like the starting point for when you start communicating, which is why it is the first communication. Normally what's passive communication, you have surface level relations. So it's not really that deep. You're just kind of like, you're there. And you don't really go out of the way to communicate other than just, yeah, like I mentioned, like when you really need something or when you actually have something to talk about. But it's never like you just want to or just, yeah, just because you have to. And examples of this would be like kind of like when we do interclub events where, you know, our CKI members would all sit together and then everyone else from their other clubs would be in their own groups. So you're kind of separated and you're not really interacting because you don't really have to. It's more like you don't want to if you don't have to. And also like emailing Kiwanis when you need them to chaperone, or emailing Kiwanis when you need something from them like chaperoning or whatever they can give you. But moderate communication is a step up. While most clubs are at passive communication, moderate communication is where most clubs that are considered to have good Kiwanis relations would be at. So it's like making conversation, being memorable, and it's more than just surface level. So like you go to events and you're memorable. They know you. You can talk to them casually. Beside just when you need something. And examples of this would be like when you attend Kiwanis meetings. I know a lot of clubs, they like to go to weekly meetings and you talk to Kiwanians regularly, like not only when you need them, but if you just want to talk to them and communicate. And attending other Kiwanis family events, like you can just like volunteer at another Kiwanis family event, and that would be considered moderate communication. Okay, so but why we're talking about the three different levels is that we really want to push for more active communication. So this is basically because we want to step beyond what we've done in the past. And as a district committee, it is our goal to be able to have more active communication because, like I mentioned, a lot of clubs right now are at passive and moderate communication, and we really want people throughout the district to be able to move toward active communication. Mainly is because we want to evolve K-FAM relations, and we want to grow and improve on what we've done in the past. And there are ways that clubs have already actively communicated, so it's not unknown. We do a lot of clubs do host key to colleges, and if you're unfamiliar with key to college, it's where we invite key clubbers to come to a college campus and we help them guide them about college. And it really shows how Kiwanis family will provide you with connections. And we also do this thing called Kiwanis takeovers, where we go over to a Kiwanis club and take over the club and basically host a program and also just basically take over the meeting. And it's a great fundraiser. But there are also other ways to actively communicate as well. Okay. So one of the ways to actively communicate is to host more Kiwanis family events. Other than Kita Colleges is pretty known and Kiwanis takeovers, there are a bunch of different Kiwanis family events, and that's the one thing that's great about Kiwanis family is that you can do a bunch of different events. You can do picnics, you can do service, you can do whatever you really think about.
Okay, and next up is hosting a joint event. So it could be a service project or a social of any kind or like a fundraiser. Like for example, you can host like what OCC does is every year we plan a Kelly's Closet and we have two representatives from each branch from like two of the key clubs under our sponsoring Kiwanis, two Kiwanians and two members from our Circle K club, and they come together to plan this huge event for like our Builders Club. So yeah. Other events can be like a Kiwanis talent show. You can work together with them to plan like a huge talent show, have like Kiwanians, Key Clubbers, and Circle Kers like show off their talent to one another.
You can also host Kiwanis family workshops / programs. So this is a great way to get your Kiwanis family to know more about. So like if you're Circle K, you can go to your Kiwanis and you can be like, can I host a program at your meeting? And you can do a Circle K 101 where you basically tell Kiwanis about what CKI does because not all Kiwanians do know. And you can also have, like vice versa, you can have key clubbers come over or Kiwanis come over to do the same thing as well. And this is a great way to be able to expand and gain more knowledge on the Kiwanis family and communicate with the Kiwanis family when you are more knowledgeable about the Kiwanis family.
Next up, we have the shadowing and mentoring programs. Shadowing program is like something that Circle Kers can do with their Kiwanians, where they like reach out to their Kiwanians to talk about like the professional aspect and see what their careers are like, and you can follow them and meet up with them to talk about like the different career paths that you want to take. And for a mentoring program, you can, like for example at Key to College, you can be paired up with a key clubber or key winner, and then you can help guide them through life and talk about college and your experiences, and like really reach out to them and teach them everything they need to know.
Another thing that you can do is a monthly service leadership program meeting. So, what this would be like, it's kind of like if you think of how we have DCMs where we have different home clubs present about what they've been up to for the month. It would be similar to this, but instead of each home club from division, you would have all the SLPs, which would be like the Key Club, Kiwanis, you guys at Circle K, pr- um, present to the Kiwanis family as a whole about what have you guys been up to for the month. So it's kind of like giving your update for the month so you guys know what's going on around your Kiwanis family. And you can also expand on this. You don't have to, you can make it more than just a meeting. You can have a potluck and have games and a bunch of entertainment to help build better bonds. So it's really flexible to what you want to do and you can make it fun and exciting as well.
Kiwanis Family Spotlights. What you can do, there are many ways you can do this. You can do an interview, record them, or like just have like a PowerPoint slide about like the different Kiwanis family clubs around your area, or you can talk about the Kiwanis family members from each branch and you shine light on them and let your members know more about them, or you can shine light on other clubs like Circle K clubs within the Kiwanis family.
Also, another way to have actively communicate within your Kiwanis family is to make monthly newsletters. So it gives your club an opportunity to showcase what your club has been up to. If you can't make it to like certain Kiwanis family meetings, it's a good way to just overall just send a newsletter. And also, it's just overall like a good way to showcase what your club has been doing, and it gives an opportunity for your club to just make yourself out there, make yourself like known that you as a club are doing something, and it's just a good way overall to just showcase what you do.
Okay, so with all of these ideas about Kiwanis family communication and active Kiwanis family communication being talked about, we do have to think about a few special considerations that we should consider when we do interact and communicate with the other Kiwanis family branches. So the first set of considerations deals with Kiwanis itself. So as many of you may have noticed in interacting with Kiwanis, there is sometimes a generational gap between us Circle K members and the Kiwanians. So a lot of the times, the Kiwanians may not understand like the technology that we use, the language that we use, and just the way that we run our Circle K clubs. With that being said, that should not really deter you from effectively communicating and interacting with your Kiwanis clubs, your sponsoring Kiwanis clubs, as well as the Kiwanis clubs that surround your school. Instead of kind of letting this be a deterrent for you, you should kind of see this as an opportunity to kind of exchange ideas between you and your Kiwanis club. So for example, if your Kiwanis club may not understand like how to use technology and how Facebook events for service projects works, then you as a Circle K member can definitely teach them and kind of like foster a bond through that method. With this, like the whole idea is kind of like making certain obstacles be more positive and kind of improving relations while helping your Kiwanis club grow through some sort of collaboration. Another special consideration that we need to remember when working with Kiwanis is that we should not really shy away from them as Circle K members. I know a lot of the times that we as Circle K members can kind of be intimidated by our sponsoring and surrounding Kiwanis clubs just because they are older than us and they may have more experience than us with doing service and being a member of the Kiwanis family and stuff like that. But with this, like, we should not let this stop us from interacting with our Kiwanians. Like, I personally believe that we do have a lot of things that we can learn from our sponsoring Kiwanians and our surrounding Kiwanians. And you just really do need to take that step forward and initiate conversations, kind of like see what Kiwanians do outside of just Kiwanis. And again, like trying to actively communicate rather than just like sitting at a meeting, kind of talking about what you do, listening to what Kiwanians do, and from there, like not communicating whatsoever in regards to other aspects of their lives. So that's it for special considerations when working with Kiwanis. And in addition to this, I also wanted to bring up some special considerations when you work with younger service leadership programs or SLPs. So this includes Key Club, Kiwins, Builders Club, and K-Kids. So the first special consideration I wanted to talk about was the event request form. So the CNH Kiwanis District has a form called the event request form, and this form basically guidelines what requirements need to be met and what forms need to be filled out in order for Circle K and other younger SLPs need in order to interact with one another. And for example, so like if you want to work with a Key Clubs or Kiwins club in order to plan a service project, an event request form does need to be filled out, and it does need to be approved by the respective administrators and advisors for the two different branches of the organization. So the IRF is really necessary, and honestly, there is so much that goes into the IRF that we would kind of need a separate webinar to go over, like the different topics that need to be considered when going through the IRF. But if you do have questions with the IRF, just feel free to ask your Lieutenant Governor as well as your Kiwanis Family Foundation liaisons about it, because they do know what is needed to go into the IRF, and they can definitely help you out if you want to fill it out and plan an event with one of the younger SLPs. Another special consideration that I wanted to bring up tonight was the youth protection guidelines. So the youth protection guidelines are basically guidelines that are set so that not only the member of the younger branch of Kiwanis can be safe, but you as a Circle K member can be safe as well. Please do note that you as a Circle K member are an adult and the members of the SLPs are minors. So because of that, interaction between you and another member of a younger SLP does need to be kept safe and appropriate. So examples of things that the youth protection guidelines does cover include social media. So for example, one rule with interacting with a younger SLP member is that you as a Circle K member are not allowed to add them on social media. So for example, like let's say you just came home from a service project with a Key Club or Kiwins Club, and you met some really cool Key Club and Key Clubbers and Kiwins members there. If you want to add them on Facebook, you cannot add them. They have to add you in order for it to be safe. In addition to that, you kind of just have to kind of like take into consideration like the different actions that you do make on social media. So for example, like it's not really appropriate that you go onto a Key Club members page and then like just constantly like everything. Same with like the different social media platforms. So yeah, with the youth protection guidelines, just kind of keep in mind that if you would not do it out in public, you should not be doing it on social media. So whenever like you interact with a Key Club Kiwins member, Builders Club member, or K-Kids member, kind of just think before you act. So again, like think about like the younger SLP member safety, but as well as yours. So if you're kind of like thinking about whether or not something you're doing is sketchy, it's probably sketchy. So try to like move out of that situation and get you and the younger member of the SLP into like a safer situation. And then finally, one last special consideration that I wanted to bring up was the role of alumni in the younger SLPs. So a lot of Circle K members may come from Key Club or Kiwanis as alumni of those organizations. I am a Key Club alumni. And with that being said, there are some boundaries and guidelines that we do have to set aside when we do work with clubs that we are alumni of. So with that being said, when we go back to our past home clubs, past home divisions, and past districts, we kind of have to remember that we are no longer a member of that club, that division, or that district. So because of this, we kind of had to set some distance from ourselves, or some distance between ourselves and the organization. So for example, like we as Circle K members should never be involved in the politics of Key Club or Kiwanis, as in like we shouldn't be telling Key Club and Kiwanis members what they should be voting for in their club, division, district, and international elections. And when we go to like Key Club and Kiwanis events, we can participate, but we do have to realize that we are no longer a member of that organization, and there are certain things that we just can't do anymore just because we're no longer part of it. Just think about it this way. Like you already had your time in that organization, and when you were there, no Circle K member told you how you should be conducting your business, how you should be doing things. Therefore, you shouldn't be the Circle K member to go into a Key Club, Kiwanis Club, or Builders Club, or K Kids and kind of like try and put your hand into their business. Again, this is just kind of like setting like healthy boundaries and healthy guidelines between you and past clubs that you may have been a part of. So that's it for special considerations, and then we will move on to Helen's part.
Okay, what you can do with this information. Try it. I challenge you to try one of the following ideas that you've learned to improve and have active communication with your Kiwanis family members. So whether it's having like a shadowing program or mentoring program, planning like events that you don't normally have for your club, I want you to try to come up with ideas on how to host these type of events or reach out to your Kiwanis family members. Next up is ask questions. If you'd like to learn more about how to plan all of these events or how to like better communicate with your Kiwanis members, please contact your liaisons or a member from the KFF committee. We're a great resource and we can help a lot. We also make like a bunch of resources for you to look at, and we provide like monthly webinars. So please, please, please ask us for help, and we're definitely enthusiastic about helping. Yay.
Okay, with that being said, I hope that y'all learned a few things about effectively communicating through our webinar and also got some tips. Just some final announcements before we move on into questions. If you haven't already done so, please sign in to the tiny URL provided below, which is tinyurl.com/KFF webinar sign in. I have had some notifications that people have been having issues with this. So if you cannot sign in for any reason, please send me an email. My email is right there, or Facebook message me, whatever is more convenient for you. And yeah, if you do not sign in or you do not contact me regarding your inability to sign in, then unfortunately we cannot give you credit for this webinar. And yeah, In like a minute, we will begin answering the questions that we have. So if you have any questions whatsoever regarding Kiwanis Family Communication, Kiwanis Family Relations, or just anything that you want the Kiwanis Family Foundation Committee to answer, please use the question link which can be found right there. And it's tinyurl.com/KFF-webinars-questions. So yeah, before we move on into questions, as you can see, our contact information is up on the slide. So if you have any Kiwanis family related questions, you can contact any of us. So again, my name is Joseph Madrigal. My email is right there. I'm the district Kiwanis Family Foundation chair, so you can ask me anything basically. And then you have Kathy, who is the Northern Liaison, and she serves Capital, Golden Gate, and Sunset. Then you have Christy, who is the Central Liaison, and she serves Central Coast, Desert Oasis, and Foothill. And then Helen is the Southern Liaison, so she serves Magic Kingdom, Metro, and Paradise. So if you have a question specific to your club, please do ask your respective liaison or me. So I will give everyone like a minute to use the question form if they have questions, and then we will start answering the questions in a minute. Okay, so we're gonna start answering questions now. So the first question is, will the PowerPoint from the webinar be available to view online? So yes, the PowerPoint will be available, and this presentation, this webinar is also recorded. So once this webinar is over, there will be a YouTube link provided where you can watch this webinar again if you want to. So next question, how do you make your Kiwanians more comfortable around Circle K members?
So how to get Kiwanians more comfortable around Circle K members is to make Circle K members more approachable. So kind of like just ask them how their day is going. Just introduce yourself, where you're from, what's your major, because I'm pretty sure like they probably don't even know what your major is, or they probably don't even know what Circle K members probably don't even know what they do as a career. So like it's a very easy way to just pick up a conversation. So just make yourself more approachable, and I'm pretty sure the Kiwanians will approach you as they are all very friendly with each Circle K member or just any SLP member in general. And so yeah.
So Kathy kind of like brought up a good point about like kind of like talking about yourself, talking about your majors maybe and stuff like that. I just wanted to like talk about one thing real quick, and that's like Kiwanis meeting programs. So if you've been to like a Kiwanis meeting or a Kiwanis BCM, sometimes like they have program speakers at these events. Many Circle K members don't know this, but you as a Circle K member can definitely be a program speaker. And if you go to these Kiwanis meetings, you'll notice that a lot of the times these programs don't necessarily have to do with the Kiwanis family or with service. I've been to like a program where someone just talked about his trip to the South Pole or the North Pole, whichever one he went to. And then I've been to like a meeting program where they talked about that car show in Reno, Summer Nights or something like that. So there's like an abundance of topics that you can talk about during these programs. And I definitely encourage you as Circle K members to kind of like participate and like try to see if you and like maybe a couple of your club members can host programs. So like some topics that I gave to the district board when I was suggesting some programs that they could talk about at DCMs included things like maybe like technology usage, like how to use Facebook, how to use Slack, how to Instagram, how to Snapchat, all that good things. Other things that you can talk about would be like your major. So a lot of the times, like Kiwanians don't really know what your major is, like Kathy said, but because like part of it is kind of like because like some of our majors weren't even created when the Kiwanians went to college. So kind of just like maybe having like a program about like interesting facts about your major, if you're really passionate about your major, would definitely like draw some interest from Kiwanians. So like there's like an abundant amount of ideas out there. So I definitely like challenge everyone at this webinar to maybe look into doing a program at your next Kiwanis meeting.
Yeah, you should totally be creative with your ideas. They're really open to any ideas that you have. It just shows that you care and that you support them with whatever they do. So that if you just honestly just show up to their meetings, it just shows support. Or even just like being a guest speaker and just talking about what your Circle K club does, like that even shows support within itself.
Okay, so we'll move on to the next question, which is, how do you get Circle K members to talk to Kiwanians?
Well, as mentioned before from our last question, I think just encouraging members that just tell them that like, oh, Kiwanians are very nice, they're very approachable, they're willing to talk about anything. Like, for example, like I went to a Kiwanis meeting myself, and it was kind of funny because like we were just talking about what was on social media, and my Kiwani came up to me and was like, "Did you see what the latest thing was on Facebook?" And I had no idea what he was talking about. So they're very approachable and like they're very funny, and so like your conversation will flow very easily. And so just encourage them, like even if it's just introducing themselves, could be a conversation starter because they will always have something to talk about. So they'll always come up with something.
Another thing you can do is you can have a committee for your own home club filled with like members who are interested in like and are able to talk to Kiwanians, and then those members are able to like pair up with like new members or like so they can help talk to Kiwanians in groups, so it'll be easier for them.
Going off what Helen said, yeah, you can definitely go to Kiwanians with an older member or also a member who feels comfortable with Kiwanians, because it's probably easier to approach in groups rather than be all alone with a Kiwanian. And definitely Kiwanians will definitely have things to talk about with you. They'll ask about your major, and whatnot. And they have a lot of experience and they love to talk about their experiences with you as well.
And then for me, my suggestion is like if you're a Kiwanis family chair, or if you just like know your Kiwanians in general, like kind of like matching your members with certain people in the Kiwanis club that they have kind of like similar like career interests or like just general interests too. So for example, like if you know that one of your Kiwanians is a lawyer, and then you have like maybe like a pre-law student in your club, and so then like you can go to the next event with your Kiwanians and kind of like tell your member, oh hey, like that guy over there is a lawyer, and just kind of like introducing them and stuff like that. That'll definitely help your members kind of like overcome their nervousness and kind of make more meaningful connections with their Kiwanians. Okay, so moving on to the next question. Do you plan on doing a webinar on the event request form? So at the moment, right now, no. If you do want help with an IRF, like I said, you can talk to me or talk to your liaison, and we'll be more than happy to help you step by step on the different aspects of the event request form. If you do have webinar suggestions, there is room for some more webinars later on in the year, but in the next couple of months, we are not planning for an event request form IRF. So yeah.
Also, for the Northern Division, so Capital, Golden Gate, and Sunset, if your Kiwanis family chairs have had a one-on-one with me, I have already taught them how to fill out an event request form. So if you're a club president or another club officer, please talk to your Kiwanis family chairs. They already know how to fill out a Kiwanis, or know how to fill out an IRF. But if you don't, or if you're a current Kiwanis family chair and have yet to have a one-on-one with me, please sign up for a one-on-one with me, and I will teach you how to fill it out.
Okay, our next question is, how often should we be contacting our Kiwanis, key clubs, builders clubs, etc.? What is a good level of activity while still being able to balance Circle K events and conflicts?
Well, I think that to how often you should communicate with or like talk to your Kiwanis family is, I guess, as much as you can. You are trying to maintain and build strong relations, so by that, you should talk to them as much as possible. Keep them updated on what your club's been doing, certain events that you've been having, or your current events that are going to come up, and just invite them to it. Maybe they'll one day come out to your service project and come support you, or even maybe like your Kiwanis fam or your Circle K club meetings. You know, just constantly updating them. Maybe like send them like bi-week or bi-monthly emails, updating them what your club's been doing. Tell them like, hey, we're having a meeting Thursday at 6 p.m. You should come out and see what our club is about, and come meet our new members for the year. And it's just a good way to maintain and build those relations. So just talk to them as much as you can, because that's one of the best ways to build stronger relations.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And with that being said, kind of like, I just kind of like wanted to kind of say that, you know, like maintaining Kiwanis family relations is like a big job, and it does require like a lot of communication. So that's why if you have like the membership, and if you have like someone really interested in it, I do recommend that clubs do have like a specific chair set aside for building Kiwanis family relations, because as I said, like it is a lot of work, a lot of kind of like talking, and a lot of like going to events and stuff. So definitely, if you can have someone with that responsibility. Okay, we'll move on into the next question, which is, if our relationship with our Kiwanis club decayed with the transition of old board to new board, how do you suggest we approach them, considering they probably don't know us that well?
Personally, I think the best way is to get your Kiwanis family chair to contact your Kiwanis club partner, and just give them a little update about what's been happening with your home club, and tell them that your club has there's a new club board, and that you guys would like to reconnect with them, is when is their club meetings, if there are any events and fundraisers that you would like us Circle K members to go to. And it's kind of like you can't really maintain or like get really strong relations all in one day. It kind of just like over time you build that relation. So maybe slowly just week by week, or like maybe every other week, go to a Kiwanis meetings, and then the next month maybe try to attend like a fundraiser of theirs or like a social that they have, and then like the next couple months try to go as many like meetings as possible. But then you build that relations with them, and it might not be active, but at least you'll be at the moderate level, and you have made it up to the next level of active communication.
Going off of what Kathy said, it's very important to attend their meetings, like general meetings, to get to know the Kiwanians. But I highly suggest that you guys should also attend their board meetings, because those are the people who like run the Kiwanis family clubs, and so they know. So that way you're able to contact them and invite them to events, and they can relay all that information to their club.
Okay, and our last question for tonight is, for an event like Keto College, what is the best / most effective way to advertise to key clubbers?
I highly suggest talking to the lieutenant governors of the Key Club and Kiwin divisions, because like they're the main liaisons to each club. So if you promote it to the LTG, they'll relay all the information to the presidents and club officers.
Also, I think another great way to advertise your key to college is to personally go to those key club meetings. I know us college students have busy schedules, but if you can, try to make it out to those Kiwanis family meetings, key club meetings, Kiwins meetings. Try to personally go out, because I think if you personally invite them, like actually go to them and advertise your key to college and personally talk to them about it, I think that's a better way for them to come, because you kind of like have that connection, and it kind of like makes them want to come, because it'll be like really interesting for you to like give them a little sneak peek of what's going to be happening, like what kind of workshops that you have. So just going out to their meetings is just a really good way to do it. If you can't personally go out to the meeting, that's like a K-Fam chair or the club president, maybe just ask like one of your club officers to go for you if you can. Also, try to go to like Kiwanis meetings, and so most likely their club advisors will be at their Kiwanis club. So ask their Kiwanis clubs to advertise for you if you or like another club member can't attend due to busy schedules. So that's a really good way to do it as well.
And then for me, I guess like my tip is, I always kind of like use this tip when I talk about Keto College, but like for any event where you have like key clubbers or Kiwins members involved, like I highly, highly, highly recommend talking and making a connection not only with the key club and Kiwins members, but also their advisors and their club advisors and their region advisors. And this kind of has like two reasons behind it. So the first reason is that if you look at the CNH Kiwanis policy, there is a set number of chaperones that are required for a certain number of key clubbers. So for every 15 key club or Kiwins members that are present at a certain event, there must be at least one adult chaperone that cannot be a Circle K member. So if you form these connections with the like the advisors, then you can use them as chaperones. And then another advantage with kind of like communicating and interacting with the advisors is that they oftentimes can provide transportation. So for like when I was UCLA Circle K's Kiwanis Family Chair, I had like Keto College, and then like I did like an LA food bank event. So those two events, like I would say, would definitely not have been successful if I did not know the advisors, and those advisors did not get buses for those events for me. So for UCLA's Key to College, they sent over 3 buses, so that's like 150 more Kiwanis members that would not have been there if those buses were not present. So again, like with all of I guess like the take-home message from like everything I just said is like, if you are planning an event with Key Club and Kiwanis members, you definitely should go and have interactions and form a bond with their advisor. So let me just make sure that all of the questions have been answered. And yes, so all of the questions have been answered. But again, if you do have any other questions about Kiwanis Family Communication or anything in the Kiwanis family in general, our contact information is up right there on your screen right now, and you can contact us anytime. Also, the KFF committee's liaisons do have one-on-ones available for Club Kiwanis family chairs, as well as presidents if you do not have a Kiwanis family chair. So please make use of that resource. It's always available to you every month, and your Kiwanis family liaisons are definitely a good resource to help you improve your Kiwanis family relations. So once again, I would just like to thank everyone who attended this webinar, and hopefully now you kind of know where you are in terms of Kiwanis family relations and have ideas on how you can improve them in the future. So thank you once again, and I will see you all next month for our next webinar.